Okay, I'm going to show you how to use the sim to answer this research question. On the molecular level, what is the difference between acids and bases? You're going to do this investigation in your notebook. Please note that in addition to this title page, there are 4 more pages of instructions and questions. This one is where you're going to access the sim. On the 3rd page is where you're going to access the procedures. On the 4th page is where you're going to answer questions in your notebook. And finally, on the last page, I'm going to fill in this table, at least for 2 examples here using the sim. You guys will need a table just like this in your notebook as well. So let's go back to where we find that link. I'm going to click this link to access the sim. And when I open it up, it's going to look like this. I want to click on the micro area. The very first thing I'm going to do is change the hydronium and hydroxide little button right there. All right, what that's going to allow me to do is I'm going to be able to see the hydronium, that's the red circles, and the hydroxide, that's the blue circles, within this solution of, it looks like, chicken soup. Okay, so remember, according to Arrhenius, when there's more hydronium than hydroxide, you have an acid. Conversely, let me change this to a more basic solution. When you have more hydroxide than hydronium, for example, when you have more of these blue circles than red circles, you're going to have a base. Okay, coming over here to the left is where we're going to find some concentrations. This is the concentration of hydroxide currently in solution, and this is the concentration of hydronium ions in solution. Please note that there's also a pH meter up here, and that pH meter is displaying currently 10. If I change this to, let's say, coffee, then the pH changes too. And also note how the amount of hydronium and hydroxide also change. You can dilute this solution by adding more water. And note that the pH increases when you do that, when we're diluting an acid. When we dilute a base, note how the pH decreases towards 7. Okay, so let's go back to coffee. What I want to do is I want to show you how to do these procedures. All right, so before you're going to do anything, either grab a table or create this table in your notebook. And we're going to use these 5 procedures. Choose one chemical. I'm going to use coffee in my example. You're going to, in that table, write down the pH, the hydronium concentration, and the hydroxide concentration. Remember, whenever we see brackets, you can think, hey, that means concentration. Finally, you're going to multiply those numbers together. Make a dilute solution of that chemical. So I'm going to make a dilute version of coffee, and I'll repeat steps 2 and 3. I'm going to choose 4 total different chemicals and their dilutions, and I'll repeat this entire process. Okay, so let's go back to the sim. I currently have coffee in my beaker. The pH is 5, and the hydronium concentration is 1 times 10 to the negative 5, and the hydroxide concentration is 1 times 10 to the negative 9. So I'm going to put that into my data table. 5.0, whoops. Hydronium concentration was 1.0 times 10 to the negative 5th. And the hydroxide concentration was 1.0 times 10 to the negative 9th. If you'll allow me a moment, I'm going to superscript these numbers. Whoops. Superscript, there we go. All right. And we're done. All right. I'm going to allow you guys to multiply these 2 numbers together to write the product right here. Second part, next part, is to now make a dilute version of coffee or whatever chemical you chose. You're going to note the pH and the concentrations of hydronium and hydroxide and put them into your data table. The pH of dilute coffee was 5.36. The concentration of hydronium, I believe, was 4.4 times 10 to the, I think, negative sixth. Negative sixth. And the other one's 2.3 times 10 to the negative 9. 2.3 times 10 to the negative 9th. Just give me a moment. I'm going to superscript. And there's that. You're going to multiply these together and write the product right there. Then I want you to go back to the sim and you're going to choose 3 more different chemicals, like let's say blood. You're going to type in blood here, do the pH, the concentration of hydronium and the concentration of hydroxide, and then do a dilute version of blood, and then choose again some more chemicals. If you have any questions, raise your hand.